Hello everyone, and welcome to Exploring Fossil Island. So I'm a bit late to getting to this because I've been behind on game updates for a while now, but in the past I did some Exploring Zaya videos where I went around and looked at the new landmass, and I want to do this one a little differently. I want to start by just going around and looking at Fossil Island because I just got here at the end of my last progress video. I have not looked around anything more than the base camp. I know of Fossil Island, I've seen some things with it, but I have not personally been here or tried out any of the content yet. So what I want to do is first go around, just kind of look at things, and then I'll be trying out different things on the island and recording clips about it if I find it interesting. Like maybe I'll try out the woodcutting method for a bit and then want to give some thoughts on it. Maybe I'll try it out and just have nothing to say. I don't know. But to start, I just want to look around. So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing in this intro clip. So this is the base camp I know. Actually, I want to check this out, because I know there's a task list, but this is a notice board, but I think it's also the task list. Yes, so this is the things to do. It's divided into 4 sections, I remember reading, and every time you complete a section, you get some fossils from Peter. I have no idea where Peter is. I think he's by the shore, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, it's a pretty big island. I actually think I'm going to zoom out a bit, just so I can see more of it. But personally, I am liking what I've heard of Fossil Island. Is this? Nope, not Peter. But yeah, I have heard different things about it. I know a lot of people weren't happy with it or felt it wasn't as useful of content as they'd like. But I don't know, from what I've heard, there's some pretty interesting new skilling methods and content like that, which is kind of what I like. Or I don't really just want higher experience stuff. I like having just alternatives, and it seems to provide a lot of that. So, guess we'll have to see how it is. Oh, there's one of the mush trees. I think, I have no idea how I get down to it or where it's pathing me to. I thought it was the other way down. Yeah, this is just the volcanic region. I know the volcanic mine is over here, but I have no idea. I think that's the Wyvern Cave. Yep. And apparently there's task-only wyverns. Is that a shortcut to them, or? I don't know. I'm not sure how you get to these. Apparently there? I don't know. Also, that seemed like a very far way around for being over there, but maybe I'm just... Oh, I probably should have drank the stamina first. That would have been a lot smarter than what I did. Anyway, so if I do that... Okay, so I found the one in Verdant Valley, and I guess I can just teleport back here now. Neat. I know transportation is another thing that's not a... Oh, that's a nice iron formation. See, so there's a lot of useful things in Fossil Island. And, oh, I guess this is also where you mine ash. Because I actually want to get volcanic ash for, I guess those are like depleted ash piles? Neat. But I actually wanted to get volcanic ash for farming, and I kind of held off. I did buy some ultra compost a bit ago, but I'd like to mine the ash myself just because I'm cheap. It's probably cheaper just to buy it, but meh. So this is the shop of the volcanic mine. I know it has an upgrade to a spell and an upgrade to the container, which are things I've been interested in. Well, I think I about explored this section of the island, and actually, will I be able to get down here? It looks like there's a shortcut. I'm just not sure if I can use it yet. Not sure if it's multiple way. Probably is. Also, there's runite here. I actually did not know there were this many ores on Fossil Island. Like, I knew they had the volcanic mining and the ash. I just didn't know they also had, like, runite and iron and such. So that's neat to see. Okay, so... I think I'm actually going to do a quick cut and then go to the other side of the island. What did I just see? So I've heard of hoop snakes, but I didn't know they just spun around on the ground. So yeah, sorry about that cut there. I actually wanted to make sure the video file would save because it was getting to 4 minutes, and Camtasia's not the best at saving larger files. So anyway, back to exploring. Well, apparently this is the mushroom forest, and I think this is a shortcut. Not sure if I can use it yet. Okay, so this is where you grow the trees. I've also heard about these crabs, the ammonite crabs, because they're kind of like rock crabs, but they also drop fossils, and apparently were really good, or are really good. Also, I know the house on the hill's up there. Yeah, I can zoom in to get a bit more of the names. I'm not sure if I'm going to run there now, though, because I don't want to spend too long just running around. And I probably should have mentioned at the start, but this is after they updated Fossil Island at the start of, I think it was 2018? I think it was start of 2018 and not end of 2017. I might be mistaken. But they updated, and oh, those are the other Zygomites, or the new Zygomites that apparently are not terrible. Maybe not good, but they're not terrible. But yeah, they updated Fossil Island a few weeks back, and now they buffed some things, made some of the content a little better that was lacking, and added, I think, some quality of life features. So that's the Fossil Island I'm going to be experiencing. And that is probably a bit unique in itself, because a lot of people who did Fossil Island videos back when Fossil Island first came out might not have had the same perspective I will, because I'm seeing it after the updates, and I really haven't experienced things like, the woodcutting method or this or that before the updates, so I will only know the new version. So, I don't know, that might give me some slightly different opinions to other people. But, yeah. And I think this is a task-only wyvern area? I don't know, I know these wyverns were, I guess, one of the more disappointing parts. Yep, it's the task-only area that rhymes with Neve. It's sad that's how I know it. So, I guess that's a different level, or... I'm not sure how that works. I guess, can you only access if you have the agility shortcut? I don't know, seems a little weird to me compared to other task-only areas. But this is the mushroom forest, and I think, oh yeah, this is where you hunt the herbivore. I've actually been really interested in that. My hunter has been lagging behind a bit, so I actually was kind of waiting to try this, because I'm not a huge fan of Chinchompas, and this is, I think, the dangerous part of the island, because there's tar monsters and such from what I've heard, and there's these new trees that are decent experience, so I kind of think I'd like to get to the mush tree here, just because getting to the mush tree seems like a good thing to do in my first run around to avoid running back later. I have no idea how you navigate this area. Alright, I think, I'm not sure it's acquired, but, well, I think these teleport you, but damage you. So let's see how that goes. Yep, that's about what I expected, but at least I got the mush tree now. Oh, you probably can walk through the swampy bit, can't you? Yep, I think oh. You know, I probably should have all the retaliate off. I'm also not sure where the deranged archaeologist is, and wow, that's annoying. You know, I brought some... Did it actually just change? Oh, I have to cut it. Well, I haven't unlocked the upgraded teleport yet, so that was still a one-click, but, that was a little bad. Well, I guess I will actually look at the house on the hill now, because I think I covered most of what else is on Fossil Island. Okay, so I think, the house on the hill is accessed up here. I'm not sure how. I guess up this ladder over a bridge or something like that. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I've seen stuff from Fossil Island. I've seen, like, screenshots on Reddit or such, or Twitter even, of different this or that, and, you know, some people like killing the wyverns or doing this or that. I keep saying this or that, but I've seen different little snippets, but I haven't seen, like, the full thing. I don't know how you get here, even if I saw someone here. I know there is a mush tree here, though. That would be the mush tree I need to unlock, so I guess that's all the mush trees now. Neat. And speaking of dig site pendant, is it this you use? I know there... Oh yeah, there's a ruby pendant on there. Grows brightly, it seems to bind to the magic of this place. So now when I rub it, I do get this, and I can teleport. I think it's like right here, I guess. Nope, right there. But that is also how I can quickly access the mush trees for future exploration-y stuff. So I think that covers just the basic running around Fossil Island portion of this video. So now I'm going to be trying out the different content, like actually cutting those trees, hunting the herbivore, volcanic mine once I unlock that, maybe killing some of the wyverns, you know, mining the volcanic ash. And also I need to build the base camp, which will probably be the next clip. So, yeah. Hopefully this video won't be too long, and hopefully we'll enjoy my thoughts on the stuff to come. But so far, I'm liking how it looks. I think graphically it is pretty nice. Although, I will say they could have probably transitioned the biomes a little better, Because when I originally saw how many different biomes they were having, like the mushroom forest, the swampy areas, the volcanic stuff, I was like, wow, this is going to be really big. And it is a pretty big area, it just still doesn't transition that great. But that's always been a problem in RuneScape. I mean, like, you know, Lumbridge is right next to a desert. That's not a great transition either, so... Anyway, I'm going to end this clip here and start checking out some of the content. Well, as you can see, I got a bunch of stuff on me to hopefully build the entire base camp. I have a note in the other window of everything that needs to be built, but there is the bank chest, the most important part, and with that I think I can also grab the soft clay I need to build something or other. I don't know offhand. But yeah, I'm not sure where all this stuff is, but there's a spinning wheel, the loom... I guess that's the well. Because it looks... Yeah, there's a water source on it. Of course it's the well. There's a campfire. And the only thing I'm not sure where it goes is the archaeologist workbench. Because that just seems like a room. Is it in here? Huh. You know, I feel like I had a note or something saying where it was, and I'm just not seeing it. Is it up there? It might be over there. I don't know. Fossil storage. Oh, yeah, there it is. So that's the last thing. And that's also the fossil storage, which we'll actually see in just a second, but this holds, like, all the fossils, it seems. You can withdraw and deposit all. Neat. Also, unidentified fossils. I'm not sure if that was originally on there or not. I know they did add some stuff, because originally I know at least one was missing. But I did also find where Peter is, and he's down here by the shore. And, actually, if I check here, I should have completed all the museum camp things, and now I can, see Peter for a reward. Also did look over this and make some, notes. So let's see. Can I do around here? Finish building the camp, all in a day's work. Here, take these fossils. They're everywhere. Thanks. Oh. Huh. Well, now I got these small fossils, and I think you take them to the cleaning table, which is kind of annoying. I have to keep running back and forth like this. Oh, well. And, let's see what I get. Because I know in the museum there's various... Really? You have a left-click use option, yet you make me use the fossil on it. Okay, now we'll just... Like, I know this is how you've done it in the past, but it's really annoying. They make you still use the fossils and all that. Anyway, if I go here and deposit all, I think it should just, there we go. That's a row of small fossils. Huh. But I know you use them at the Varrock Museum, which I'll probably check out later in the video, to get, fill displays, get kudos, and there's plans to have a boss you use fossils to fight or something. Anyway, also I realized I forgot to explore the underwater area. So I think I'm gonna go do that now. You know, I actually don't know where the underwater area is, so I'm gonna assume this is the boat I take. Okay, that's a little annoying, but I think this is where you dive down somehow. Oh, dive. There's also a bank chest here. But I know you don't need... Dive anyway, because I don't have that stuff in my bank. I know you don't need a way to breathe underwater. So there's a seaweed patch. I'm not sure how good seaweed actually is. Oh, there's a pufferfish. That might be useful. I don't have my flippers on. I really should have got them first, because I have them in my bank. I don't have the breathing gear, but I have flippers. But, yeah, you can puff, and that gives you some air. So I actually don't need breathing gear, which is actually really cool. Like, I haven't seen a lot of this, but this whole underwater area compared to previous ones we have is neat. I like how they give you the option to use the breathing apparatus, so you don't need to worry about air, but you still can. And Or pretty much, I remember in RuneScape 3, there was a quest where they just said, oh, here's a water spell, so you don't need to breathe underwater, pretty much. But this did it in a way where you aren't required to have the previous quest that gives you the breathing gear, while still making it useful, which I like. So, anyway, underwater. Oh, think that's volcanic mine. But, yeah, I don't know too much about this area. I know there's driftnet fishing. This is up here, and this whole area I think is the thieving, the mermaid tear collecting thing or whatever it's called. I have no idea what it's called. Yeah, I will be testing this stuff out at some point, and I'm actually really interested in the agility though, because I've been training agility at Arty, and it starts to get boring kind of fast. It's not horrible or bad, it's just, you know, it'd be nice to have something different. So this seems like a nice area, or a nice difference. Oh, I think I might have got lag or stuck on something, one of the two. And yeah, I think there's even air bubbles and stuff over here. I don't know, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm also not going to do driftnet fishing right now. I take it those are the fish you drift next. Yeah, I think you even can chase them with a trident, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think that's it for just looking around Fossil Island part of the video, which probably has been at least 15 minutes by now. Whoops. But yeah, I think I'm going to climb up this anchor, and now I'm actually going to try out some of this content. Maybe starting with the fishing or the underwater agility stuff, because I'm right here. So now I'll come back in the following clips to give my thoughts on some of the stuff once I have some more experience with it. So I've been trying out a bunch of the content on Fossil Island, and I'm ready to start giving some of my thoughts. I'd say I've probably done about half, maybe a third of the content, and I left off with mining volcanic ash here, so that's the first one I'm going to talk about. Overall, I think it's pretty okay. The experience isn't that great, and it is a bit slow. Sometimes these ash piles go away immediately. Sometimes you get a bunch like I'm getting now, but you still can get a good bit of the volcanic ash pretty quickly. So if you at least want to just get some to cover your own farming needs, it's okay. But at the same time, the ash isn't worth that much, and like 92k, it probably was not worth the time I spent to get that much. So it's probably easier just to buy it if you want to do that, but if you did want to get your own for farming, especially if you're an Iron Man, it's not bad. I also wanted to take a quick moment to show you the worst activity on Fossil Island so far. So, if you might remember in the dig site, you could dig up stuff, I think like this. Yep, you don't even need to put on the boots. But, yeah, this is an activity they put in Fossil Island. You get, like, no experience, and you get, like, no rewards. It's just nothing interesting all the time. The most I got was, like, yeah, 1 Numalite at a time. I never even got any fossils from this. I think you can? I'm not even sure. I don't know. This is just terrible. It's worse than doing this at the dig site. And this should be an upgrade to the dig site given the requirements to get to Fossil Island. I don't know. I'm really disappointed in this. I wouldn't say it's like a waste. Why didn't they put this there? Because this is like the classic archaeology thing you did in the dig site. But this should be I'm not saying this should be amazing, but this should be better. It should at least be an okay way to get starter Numalite or starter fossils, or maybe okay experience. I don't know. It's just really, really bad. Hey, look, I got 2 in all that time. So, yeah. This is probably the worst activity, and I bet a lot of people didn't even know it was a thing. Let's ignore that I don't have a Dragonfire shield and talk about wyverns. So, overall, I think these wyverns are pretty decent and not nearly as bad as a lot of people have made it out to be, but that's probably because I'm only fighting them after they've been nerfed. They have their drop table buff and their defense reduced. For the ancient ones, their defense is reduced from like 220 to 150, I think, or something like that. So, I don't think they're that terrible anymore, and I definitely don't think they need a special block. I think they should have reduced the defense, then see how the community felt before just giving them a special Slayer block outright because people don't like them, because I think they actually are decent enough money. Like, I'm killing them off task. If you had a Slayer task, you probably would be doing better. And the small ones aren't bad either. In fact, I kind of like them better than the ancient ones, but the ancient ones do have some better drops. But as you can see, I haven't got a lot of kills this inventory. They are pretty tough like that, and darn, frozen again, and there goes Putty. I wasn't flicking it because I was trying to commentate, and the previous clip was way too long. Anyway, but the ancient ones I think are pretty good. They do have some big drops like Onyx Bolt Tips, which I have gotten like 3 times in like probably, I don't know, 20, 30 kills. So that's not bad. That's a nice 100k-ish drop. And they kind of just remind me of like Steel or Mithril Dragons, but I would say they have better loot than Steel or Mithril Dragons. So there's that. The only thing that really bothers me about these guys, there's only 2 of them here, and there's no shortcut. You have to come in from the cave and run all the way around. If they had an agility shortcut there, that would be nice. Also, I think it would be really nice if they added a shortcut here, because currently you have to go from the base camp and run over. But it'd be nice if I could teleport into this, use the mush tree here, and then go over. But I suppose it's not that big of a difference either way. I don't know, it'd be nice to see a few more shortcuts on Fossil Island. I haven't explored it all yet, but I'm already getting that feeling that transportation could be a little more streamlined, or it'd be a nice place for some higher level agility shortcuts, or just more in general, even not higher level. The weaker wyverns, though, I also think they're pretty good. They don't have as good a drop as skeletal wyverns, but they're also a lower slayer level, and I think they do die about the same, maybe a bit quicker. So I think that's okay. The only thing I don't like is that there's 3 different versions, and they're more or less all the same. Like, one uses a ranged attack, one just uses melee, but they all still damage you, and they all have like the same defensive stats. It would be cool if like one was weak to stab, one was weak to slash, one was weak to crush, or maybe one weak to magic, one weak to range, one weak to melee. But instead, they're just all kind of the same monster, which is disappointing. Also, the uniques for these guys aren't that amazing. The sword and boots are kind of lacking items, but they still have a good bit of value. The visage is nice, but they kind of messed up because the ancient wyverns here only drop at 1 in 10k, and those guys only drop at 1 in 12k. So it's far better just to kill the little guys than the big guys if you're after the visage, which I think is kind of backwards. Oh well. And the only other thing, the calcite and phosphorite is a terrible drop. These guys don't drop it, but the small ones do, and they only drop like 1 or 2 at a time, and it's worth like nothing. I understand it's probably not meant to have a whole bunch of value, but they really should have buffed that up to like, maybe, I don't know, 50 at a time or something. It's just really bad. But overall, I do think that these fossil wyverns are... Ooh, see? I think that's actually my first large fossil, too. But, yeah, overall, I do think the fossil wyverns aren't nearly as bad as a lot of players say. They're a decent money task, or on a slayer task especially, if you kill them faster, I think they can be decent profit. They might not be as good as skeletal wyverns, but I also don't think they need to be. They have the niche of giving, you know, new unique items like the special visage, and they're still pretty profitable, as you can see from my inventory. So, yeah, I think they're pretty decent, and not terrible at least. As someone who is really looking forward to the underwater content on Fossil Island, I have to say it hasn't quite lived up to expectations, but it's still pretty good content overall. I think the weakest has to be the drift net fishing here, because from what I've seen, it can be really good experience for both hunter and fishing, but I don't know, the activity itself just isn't as good as it sounded in the dev blog, and there's also the problem of these drift nets, every 10 fish you catch, you have to get a new drift net. And the loot you get isn't that good, and they require jute fibers, which make them pretty costly. So it seems to be a pretty good way to get experience, or a decent option, but you're probably going to lose money, so it's just kind of eh. You also have to pay to enter the area, or pay a very high one-time fee. So, I don't know. It's not my favorite content here. I also don't have the good trident. I'm not sure if the trident of the seas actually does anything here. But I think the goal, I haven't seen a lot of guides or such on this, so I'm just going off a few things I've heard. But I think the goal is to get the you prod them message, which will push them towards your nets. And if you get the other one, you just have to keep clicking. So it is a pretty unique method for both fishing and hunter. And oh, the net's full. I can actually show you what you get. It's not very good. So you can pay only 5 Numalite to bank it all. But you don't get that good of loot, and I'm not really planning to stay here long, so I'm just taking the good one, discarding it, and ta-da, now I need to put another net down, and the nets are decently costly. I think like 4k a piece. I know the guide price is inaccurate. Aside from this, though, there is the Mermaid's Domain agility thieving thing, which is probably the thing I was most excited for, and I don't know, it's interesting. It's kind of like Brimhaven, only different. Instead of tagging a pillar then waiting to go to the next one, it's a little more forgiving, but you also have to try and get through it quick and spam click it to get as much stuff out of it as you can. The one thing that bothers me, it does have a pretty high fail rate, but it still is a new way to train, and you can get both thieving and agility, so that is at least neat with it. And let's see, what else? There's the lobstrosities, which seem to be decent for loot and fossils, but that you only can fight them with the trident or the brine saber, because those are like the only weapons you can equip underwater. It's also a bit weird, the gear restrictions underwater. It's not very clearly explained either. So yeah, but it does seem like they can be decent to kill, even if they're not a real... Oh, I forgot to get the sea turtle there. Whoops. But yeah, lobstrosity seems decent. Also, it's kind of funny, because like I mentioned, the Mermaid's Domain thieving agility thing isn't like Brimhaven, and while doing that, I managed to get some... Or while I was killing lobstrosities, the clam of the moment was in that area, and because I tagged a clam earlier, even though I missed like the last 7 or more, I still was able to thieve it for tiers, which was neat. And then there's also seaweed farming, which is probably the best underwater content, because I think it takes 70 minutes or so to grow, and those can be a lot of profit. Like, some stuff, I don't know, I feel like they could be something to do alongside herb runs. You get a lot of the giant seaweed, it sells for a good bit, the spores you use are worth, like, nothing. So, yeah, I think that's pretty good farming content. So overall, I think the underwater content's decent. I'm not really sure what could be changed with drift net fishing. It just seems to be a costly way to train that doesn't seem too appealing compared to other fishing and hunter options. But the agility thieving method does seem pretty cool, and I probably will try it more in the future for agility. Now that I finally got around to testing out these mushrooms, no idea how to pronounce that name, I think I've covered most of the content on Fossil Island and ready to review what's left. There's a lot of it. This video is already getting long, so let's see how quickly I can get through it. So let me actually start with ancient zygomites. I actually think they're pretty neat. They're no wyverns or gargoyles, but they do have pretty good drops, and I think they actually make zygomite tasks worth doing, which is nice to be able to say. Aside from that, there's the mycelium pool and the rich bones thing. Now, that's not really that great, or I only did a little bit because I still need the fossils, so I can't be enriching them all. But, I don't know, it seems like a decent way to use spare fossils to get some prayer experience, especially now that they buffed it, but it's still just kind of meh. I'm really annoyed, though, with the items you need, the phosphorite and the sulfur, or whatever it is. They're just way too common and way too cheap of a drop. It's just kind of annoying whenever you see them, so not happy about that part. Herbivore, though, is one of my favorite pieces of content. I actually thought it would have been my favorite piece of content, but it's not. But yeah, Herbivore, it's a really fun hunter method with some big experience drops. Its profit might be worse than Chin's. I actually have no idea how they compare, but it is a cool interactive method that's more than just repetition. You actually have to go around and kind of do a little bit of, I guess, problem solving with tracking, you know, figuring out where to go. Still pretty easy, but it's something new for Hunter. Not really new, but something Hunter hasn't had a lot in the high levels, which is tracking, so it's nice to see a good tracking method. You also have the birdhouse traps, which are okay. I don't really have much more to say on them. They seem like a nice passive way to train Hunter, and also some profit, but I've only done them a few times, and you know, it's not that great experience just to harvest a few traps, but I don't know, it seems like something I'll play around more with. Kind of reminds me of like farming but for Hunter, so it might have some potential, at least for players who don't really like the traditional Hunter methods, but I like Herbivore, so yeah. Then there's a deranged archaeologist. I actually think it's a pretty fun boss, or mini-boss, but it does lack unique, so I don't see it being that great. Still, it's a cool piece of content. I just wish it had something unique like the crazy archaeologist did. Also, there's the amberite crabs, which seem like a decent alternative to rock crabs, but aside from just training like rock crabs, they don't seem that good, like they're not that great at fossils or anything. And I think that brings us to these mushroom trees that I can't pronounce. Now, this is probably my favorite piece of content on Fossil Island. I really like it because it's a very good experience woodcutting method, as you could probably see. At my level, or at 90 plus, you can get like, I think it's like over 90k experience an hour at level 90 or something like that. I don't know, it's a really good experience, and it can be fairly AFK once you get to the mushroom, but I love how it's a nice bit of activity and not just AFKing like redwoods. Like, you start at that tree, run down here, run over here, up to that one, use the teleport to get back over here, and I don't know, it's just a really nice little rhythm to it, while being a bit more involved than the traditional AFK woodcutting, you know, a bit of danger from the monsters, and, you know, have to bring, like, I have the prayer book here to heal the poison, And I don't know, it just is a fun way to train woodcutting, or a bit more fun than traditional just stand on a tree, cut logs, drop them, or that kind of woodcutting. So, yeah, I think that's everything I had to mention, so time to wind down this video. So I thought a good way to end off this video would be to come down to the fossil area of the museum and give my thoughts on Fossil Island as a whole. Overall, I think it has lived up to my expectations at the start of the video. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it has gave a lot of interesting new skilling methods, which is what I was hoping for. Not all of them have been perfect, but it's far from the dead content I've seen some people claim the island is. Now, I didn't get to everything, and as you can see, all my displays are still blank, and I don't have enough kudos to access Volcanic Mine, which is why I didn't do that. But I might check some of this stuff out in future progress videos if you really want to see me do that. But still, I think I covered enough of the content. There's some stuff I didn't even show or talk about that I did, like this or that, finding diaries and whatnot. But overall, I think the island is really nice, and my favorite content has to be those mushroom trees, followed by herbivore, and actually ancient zygomites and seaweed farming would be my next favorites. I also do like the whole building the camp, the underwater thieving agility still fell a bit short of expectations, but still nice content. I still like the wyverns, the birdhouse traps, the hardwood tree farming, which I still haven't checked out because my trees are still growing, and also the volcanic mine from what I've seen is really awesome as well. And by the way, I did say that fossil digging method with the soil was terrible. Apparently it's actually pretty good fossils per hour. You can get like 3 per hour, but it's very click intensive. Although, those mushroom trees, the wiki said like 3 to 4 per hour, but I was getting a ton if you saw in the last video clip. And underwater thieving can give up to like 2 of used points. The rest are like under 2 per hour, so not very good. But, I don't know, the whole fossil collection will take some time to build all this stuff, like I think that's the Leviathan thing there. I don't know, there's a lot of displays to fill, and I do kind of like this sort of collection element every now and then in content. But, yeah. So overall, I'm really happy with Fossil Island. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It probably would have worked better as a 2-parter. Oh well, it's just one really long video. But, yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this update video, and until next time, goodbye.